What's up guys, MainManSWE here, hoping you're all doing awesome as always, and me, I'm doing great, although I'm still a little bit sick. You might be able to hear it on my voice. Apologies for that, bear with me. You'll hear me talk like this in this video, and then hopefully you're interested in the breakdowns I've made as well on Reina, Deviljin, Lee, and Steve. I adore those characters, and I believe they deserve their own video where I talk in detail about them, because I got to spend quite some time with these characters, as I was lucky enough to get invited to the Bandai Namco offices on the 20th of November. Got to try out the full retail version of Tekken 8. I got to play like story mode, Tekken Ball, customization, practice mode. I got to take a look at pretty much everything. And it's looking so good. And this is some footage from there. This is going to be me playing, doing random stuff. Well, random stuff, you know, having some fun with Tekken 8. I had quite limited time, but still enough, you know, got a couple of hours. Apologies about the coloring here. It's going to be a little bit off because I recorded on a PlayStation 5 with HDR on, and that apparently makes everything look a little bit duller. So the game does look better than this. You'll see proper footage on some of my breakdowns because we fixed it. But and this is of course the first trailer stage, and it's so amazing, it's so cool, and the music is so good. So many amazing stages, by the way, that have not been shown yet, and I'm unsure if we should spoil them as content creators, or spoil rage arts that haven't been seen yet. But so much amazing stuff. But I just want to say in short, before I get carried away, this is going to be the best Tekken game of all time. There's no fucking way this is not going to be the best Tekken game of all time. It's like, I just don't know how they could have done a better job, personally, because I was just seeing the main menu. You know, in the network test on the beta, you see Kazuya's face. Now, you have a very extended menu, which is not as convoluted as Street Fighter 6's menu. This one is easier to comprehend. But you do use the trigger shoulder buttons on your pad, you know, L1, R1, to go from one section to the next, like offline modes, online modes, options, etc. And it goes from Kazuya's face to different parts of his body, his biceps, in a very cinematic way. The camera swooshes to a profile shot of him. And it's so cinematic. It's so cool. It's just a main menu, but it just blew me away. And I know that when you see it, you're also going to be like, wow. And like his model is so high resolution. It's insane. I mean, it's not exactly photorealism, but it's not far away. It looks so good. And again, I'm just constantly blown away by how beautiful the game is. Every time I sit down with Tekken 8, I just pause for a little moment, quite a few times, just going like, the graphics are so insane. But yeah, it's like, oh, sorry, I'm just gonna let this roll. In short, graphics amazing, main menu amazing, story mode super awesome, I thought. Wait, we only got to play a few chapters, like 4 chapters, but it was insane. I'm not gonna spoil it, obviously. Arcade quests, surprisingly cool, I thought. And then we didn't get to try the character episodes, but we know what they are. You know, it's gonna be like classic Tekken Arcade with CG endings, which I think is so great that it's back. And then now I can't see what I've written here. I write like a moronic man. Tutorials, etc. and help. I'm surprised at how much they've built in tutorials and just, yeah, general help for newcomers. Or even for people who've played for a while. Yeah, you know, you saw the tutorial, the very basic one, when you booted the beta. Booted? I'm Canadian now, booted. When you booted, so I go US now, when you booted, the network test or beta, you know, you got a basic, this is how you guard, you can duck highs, this is how you activate heat. You have that stuff, but then, like, when you go into practice mode, like, Jesus Christ, in the move list, you have, these are your most important attacks, you have that in a list. And you have notes saying, well, this, you can do this to set up this. Or this move is good if you like to crouch. You have that stuff. And then you have a combo suggestions, right? But then what you also have now in practice mode is a help section. Where you click on it, and then it gives you 20 different options, and it explains frame data to you. What is frame data? Well, here you go. 6 amazing slides in a row. You click from one to the other, where they in detail break down frame data to you in a very easy to comprehend way. And they even do this about, well, what are hit properties? And it will explain to you what does it mean when something is a counter hit, or damage, or tracking, homing. It's like, it was so cool to see. And Arcade Quest has a lot of information for beginners. Some trials and challenges they can do, and just explaining core mechanics in the game. There's so much built into the game in terms of helping beginners, and I was really impressed with that. I think it's a really good step to take with Tekken, and especially Tekken 8. Story mode, really, really good. So now they do the correct thing of not having an awkward narrator. I mean, you could always tell with Tekken 7 that the budget wasn't that high. They had to, it wasn't cutscenes all the time. They had to use art, or what do I call it? Pictures, and then narrator dialogue overlay. No one wanted this narrator, some random journalist character we don't give a fuck about is talking about the events, but it's because I guess they couldn't have the actors and cutscenes. It's too much money. So I think that was the compromise, having him. And then they reused Tekken 5 assets, you know, like Tekken 5 intro, and did filler shit with old content. And I get it, you know, Tag 2 was a huge flop. It almost killed Tekken, but when they got to make Tekken 7, they probably didn't have a huge budget. But again, this is what I want to stress with Tekken 8. As soon as you put this shit up, you see the money on the goddamn screen. You see the budget. I told you about the main menu, but when you play story mode, you're like, holy shit. Amazing set pieces, environments. The character models are just like, you know, they make the most out of them in story mode. You have these amazing shots of the character models. The lighting, cinematography is great. The facial animations are great. The models have been expensive to make, according to Bandai Namco. Very expensive, but they make the most out of them. They look amazing in story mode. And everything is cutscenes, no dull narrator, no images. Everything is cutscenes, animated. Story is what it should be. Is it Shakespeare? No, but it has great pacing, action, it has energy, follows Jin, obviously. But every character, again, I didn't play the whole thing, so I don't know if every character is in it, but they make a point of putting in as many characters as they can. Every character gets to shine. And I was like, well, god damn it, this is what we wanted all along. Like, well done. So I think I was positively surprised with story mode, and I can be hard to please with stuff like that. So I'm sure you guys are also going to like it. And Rain, I'm not going to spoil, but has a very quirky and cool part of a story mode. Really enjoyed that. Arcade Quest has its own little story mode where you're a Tekken player who wants to get into the Tekken World Tour. And you go from arcade hub to arcade hub on a world map, and you challenge people in the arcades, and you have your friend Max there to help you out. And he he talks to you about being a positive, and I like this, Tekken community can be so elitist. And there's in the story of Arcade Quest, there's this unbeaten Ochoro, or whatever his name is, who looks super edgy. And he's super cool and mysterious, and he's like, you bums shouldn't play in the Tekken World Tour, you guys suck at Tekken, get the hell out of here. You guys suck, Tekken is for pro players only. And then Max, who's so wholesome, says, everyone who enjoys playing Tekken does the right thing. Everyone who's just having fun playing Tekken is doing good Tekken. And it's like, yeah, I just, it's so wholesome. I agreed with Max, it was so beautiful. But so it has its own little story mode, and Max explains basic I mentioned this before, but he explains some basic mechanics of Tekken to you. And as you do fights early on in Arcade Quest, he's actually present as a dialogue window below as you're playing, and he gives you tips as you're playing. You're going to have to see this for yourself, but I thought it was really cool. An Arcade Quest, is the story mode there going to be as elaborate as story mode? No, but I was surprised at how interesting that content also seemed to be. So again, like, you're going to have a dedicated story mode, which looks amazing. Like, honestly, you are going to like it, I think. And then you have a character episodes with CG endings, and then you have Arcade Quest. I mean, I gotta say, content-wise, this game is no slouch. No slouch, to say the least. Oh, and then I'm gonna touch upon customization. And this is, though, where I gotta say, I was a little bit disappointed. Maybe I had built up hype too much, but I did expect more, I have to say. The items that are there are absolutely amazing. And everything looks tailored to your character. And you can even adjust the size of a lot of items and the placing of them. Which was a really neat feature that probably should have always been there. And also, now you can change the pants, and the shoes are separate. The shoes are their own category, thank God. So that stuff is really great. But what made me feel a little bit like, was the fact that there weren't that many items. I expected more items, personally. And also, you know, in Tekken 7, when you're in customization mode and you hover over an item, and then you go to another one, it immediately loads them. So you can see this looks like this looks like this. It doesn't do that in Tekken 8. You go over an item, and then you actually have to click a button saying, try it on. And when you do that, it actually takes like a substantial amount of time to load the item onto your character. And you can decide whether you want to equip it or not, or purchase it. And it felt sluggish. And then when I went to another item, it also felt sluggish in how it removed the item I was trying on. You know, it's like, I don't know, customization was good, but I have to say here that I expected more. So that is a little bit of a negative for me. And then the stages are absolutely incredible, as you can see here. Funnily enough, is that a word? Funnily enough, maybe I can say that. The White Desert stage with the Tag 1 references from the Tag 1 intro with June and Jin, and the hand in the background with the chains where everything is white, doesn't seem to be in the full retail version of the game. Are they saving it for DLC? Or is it maybe going to be a story mode specific stage? Only in story mode, I have no clue. And then so many stages you haven't seen yet that are amazing. Amazing. And with good music. One stage has that music you've heard in the trailer, the Save the Day trailer, the second trailer we got, where we saw that story mode sequence where Jin turns to Devil Jin, grabs Devil Kazuya by the face and demolishes a building with him, flies down into the ground with him, and you hear a choir go, ha, 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 he, ha, ha. That's the music on one of the stages, and it's actually really good. I haven't been that impressed with the music so far in Tekken 8, but all of the stages you haven't seen yet, good music, I thought. So yeah, stage is cool. And now the final point I want to bring up is balancing. Because this was something I immediately checked out. I was like, you've heard how I feel about characters like Kazuya, Jin, Jack, June. There are some problematic balancing decisions. And again, obviously, this game is so early. It's going to have to be refined with patches and everything. And they've done a reasonably good job, I think, considering we're so early. But yeah, when you contrast a character like Kazuya to Jack, it's a little bit like, what the hell? What is going on? So I was like, I wonder what retail version balancing looks like. So I was like, I'm gonna try Kazuya's stuff, see if anything has changed. I'm gonna try Jin's down 2, forward 4, 2-1-4. Have they changed this stuff? Or is it like in the beta? And it's like in the beta. Again, I had limited time. I couldn't try everything. Kazuya seemed the same. Jin seemed the same. So unless there's a day 1 patch fixing a lot of stuff, I think what we saw from the playable characters in the beta, that's how they're going to operate and play in the retail version of the game, is my guess. And I had a ton of fun with Reina. I had a ton of fun with Steve, Dragonov, Devil Jin, Lee. Very impressed with them, but again, they're going to get their own videos. So I hope you do, you know, enjoy those videos as well, if you're interested in those topics. But I'm gonna keep it short and brief. This is 15 minutes now, and these are my initial thoughts on the Tekken 8 retail version. Such an honor and privilege, you know, being a YouTuber, being allowed to their offices and try the game. And again, I mean what I say. Like when I played the game in Lyon in March, I was just like, if you remember what I said then, I was like, this is going to be the best Tekken game of all time. And when I played it now, I was like, it's magnified by 200% what I said then. It's just like, this is going to be such a contender to MK1, Street Fighter 6, and Project L. I mean, again, Tekken is the only 3D fighting game out there, so it always have a monopoly on that. And always be its own entity. Like where Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter and Project L are in direct competition, right? Tekken has a monopoly on 3D fighter. So it's always unique in that way, but I think this could very well be the best fighting game of all time. Absolutely, there's a case for it. And I'm sure you will see what I see when you play the game. It's just... you see the money on the screen, you know, and they made all the right decisions, I think. Offline content in general, online modes, graphics, the way they've revamped the characters to make them feel fresh. They could have played it safe with the gameplay, made Tekken 7 again, but instead you have a game with huge sidesteps, small backdashes, heat system, chip damage, you know, everything that comes with heat, and how different the characters are, counter hit throws, jumping is so nerfed, low parries, gigantic nerfs, they removed magic force and back ones. It's like, they really tried to, even with the gameplay, make it feel really fresh. And, you know, rebuilding everything from scratch. Yeah, I gotta say, I'm so impressed, and I can't wait for the release and see what everyone feels about the game. But so I hope you enjoyed this little breakdown. Sorry again for my voice, and I hope to see you on the next video very soon. So have a great rest of your day. Bye.